Spider-Man 2, still to this day, one of the greatest superhero movies of all time.
Absolutely, hands down. After watching this, I still feel like it's easily in my top 5 of all time.
It is in my top 5
This
of
is
all
this
time.
is probably better than 95% of the MCU films to me.
And I mean,
there's a couple MCU movies that are above this, probably like Winter Soldier, Avengers. It's very limited.
But it's like it's all under that same like top 5 thing. Like it's really hard
it's
to,
such a tight top 5.
I can't do a top 5 superhero movie without this movie.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like I can't do it without it. I can bump other movies depending on how I'm feeling, because obviously sometimes you're just like, you know what, maybe I was. But this one, it is absolutely amazing.
Oh, some would say spectacular.
Some would say that it is spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Or just simply Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2.
So
I have very small amount of notes on this one, just because I feel like we're just going to be raving lunatics the whole time.
Okay, so again, this is another movie we saw in the theater.
Yep.
Opening night.
Yep.
Which these days is a lot easier to do with AVX. I gotta say.
It is. You know what? Back in the day, we must have went like 30 to 40 superhero movies, like straight opening nights.
Yeah, and for us, opening night was like...
That's overkill. Not 30 to 40.
No, but...
been that many. But you know what I mean.
But,
like, it was a ton.
But you actually had to go there, in some cases, an hour early to get your spot in line just to buy the fucking ticket. Mm-hmm. And then wait for the movie to start, and then get a seat together.
And this is back in the day before we were really driving.
That's right. You know, I lucked out because I lived right by the theater.
Yeah.
That was like the only saving grace for me, was that I could just pop on over there.
Exactly.
You know, you had to drive.
I was in the boonies.
Your parents had to drive you, and then once you got the vehicle, then it's a lot easier.
I think I was driving for Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 1, the fact that I watched that 8 times in the theater and I wasn't driving yet.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's right, because I met you,
crazy.
Your dad, your mom, your brother.
It used to be a full family affair.
That's right.
Megan was there. Like,
That's right.
Everyone went.
That's right.
Everyone went.
But Spider-Man 2 was a fucking revelation. Mm-hmm. It was... Because, what year did Dark Knight come out?
Dark Knight...
2008?
2008, yeah.
Yeah, 2008. So this is 4 years removed.
Batman Begins came out a year after Spider-Man.
That's right. So, watching this movie, sitting in the theater, and the first thing you see is Peter Parker delivering, like, pizzas.
Yeah.
On a shitty moped. And they have that, like, hilarious sequence, but it's like, if you're not there in 29 minutes, it's free. Mm-hmm. And you have to do this, otherwise I'm going to have to fire you.
Yeah.
You have to do this, right? And they do these, like, funny little interludes where he's on the moped, then he's getting fucked around in traffic, so he ditches the moped, and now he's Spider-Man, and the first time I watched that, I remember like, why don't you just be Spider-Man the whole time? But it's funny.
He's trying to separate his life, right?
He's trying to find a balance,
yeah.
But I love that there's that one line where it's like, that guy Spider-Man stole that guy's pizzas! And you're like, that's
whoa!
That's the what's up guy.
He doesn't take like, oh man, that guy was Spider-Man. He goes, Spider-Man stole that guy's pizzas.
Out of all the good that Spider-Man's done, and like, we'll say it's been like 2 years. Let's say it's been 2 years since he's been Spider-Man. All the good, and in one second he's just like, he stole that guy's pizza. And you're like, holy fuck. So then, of course, he's swinging. Now he's swinging through New York. He's got the pizzas.
Yeah.
And just when you think he's going to make it, nope. Because he's got to save a couple kids from the street, you know? But it's awesome because he saves them and he's just like, hey, no playing in the streets. And like, we won't, Mr. Spider-Man. Like, yes. Like he stops there and he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. No one's scared of him. Mm-hmm. No one's trying to like fuck him up or trying to arrest him because they all get that he's a hero. He just wants to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I forgot how awesome that is to watch this in a movie. There's like DC where everyone just hates and fears everybody. But yeah, and then there's that sequence where he comes out of the broom closet. Nobody knows.
He's fucking around with the brooms. They're all falling. And that scene probably goes for a full minute. It's just
painfully awkward. And you're just like, and then he gets there and it's like, I ain't paying for those.
Yeah.
And it's Zooey Deschanel's sister.
Yeah, I know. Before Bones.
Like, what are you talking about? It's 33 minutes you're late. And I'm like, oh, shit. And then it's just like, well, here you go. And then he gets fired.
And he gets fired.
You know, and you're like, oh, man, that sucked. And then what does he do? He's late for class.
Mm-hmm.
From Dr. Kirk Connors.
I know. And Dylan Baker was such great casting for that, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, way better than Rice Efron?
Yeah, I mean, that guy was all right. But
he's a good actor, but it's just...
But
I just remember it was weird casting because I remember immediately being like, oh, do you have nothing better to do?
Yeah.
Or is he, like, looking for superhero bucks? Like, I don't understand this. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But, anyway, so this whole big setup, and it's just so cool, you know, and you're right, like, he's doing a shitty job of balancing his home, because then, of course, you know, he goes home to his shitbag apartment, and he's back on rent, although that is a funny interlude.
Oh, I loved all of that.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, or the daughter who's in love with him.
Yeah.
She wants him, and
originally they were saying that was what, Felicia Hardy? Is that kind of where they were going
I
at
think
first?
that's
like,
what they were
hinting
at.
I don't even think they say her name in the movie.
I don't think they say her name either, but I think they were heavily implying that she was going to be Felicia Hardy.
Right.
Which I didn't see at all.
It's like, that doesn't look like Black Cat.
But they had these, like, cute little interludes and stuff.
Yeah,
like that,
I thought she was a really cute, like, character.
Yeah. And even just trying to be as close to Mary Jane as possible, but always, like, Spider-Man always
disappointing
interferes.
her.
And disappointing her stuff. But see, this is kind of where I've changed a little bit, because up until this point recently, I was watching this movie, and I remember thinking to myself, is it weird that she doesn't mention her fiancé at all, or her boyfriend at all, until, you know, he's trying to talk to her about the other night where he missed it, you know, and she's just like, oh, sometimes it feels like you're there, but you're not there, and he does that whole thing, like, if you prick me, I bleed, and this and that, and she's like, yeah, well, you know what, my boyfriend asked me to marry him, so I'm going to marry him.
Well, no, she said she's seen someone.
She's seen someone?
Because Jameson proposes while he's taking pictures.
Okay, that's right.
Right.
But the lead up to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the guy she wants to be with, but he doesn't want to be with her.
But at no point in time did she say, hey, by the way, like, I got a boyfriend, or I'm seeing some guy. Before any of this, it's waiting until the last possible minute to be like, okay, well, you had your shot, but I've been seeing someone anyway.
Yeah.
And then
I feel like she would do that, though. I mean, I feel like.
Would you do that, though?
Him. She wanted him, though.
I know, but would you do that? Would you wait till the last possible second? It just seems a little shady to me. That's all I'm getting at.
Okay.
It just seems a little shady.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm super pumped when they get together at the ending.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But, like, and especially because it does feel earned.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't feel forced, which is probably one of the reasons why I loved the ending of the first one so much, was because they were playing it like, well, of course they get together.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do in every fucking movie. You know, and then they don't do that. And same with Batman Begins. If they don't do it, you're like, oh, well, right? So, I don't know. I guess I maybe it just bugged me because it just, they were using that to really hammer home that he can't, or he's having a hard time juggling both. And he's doing that whole, like, I can't have her and be Spider-Man, so I'm going to be Spider-Man and I'm going to suffer type of thing. That part, I don't know, maybe it's just how I'm interpreting it.
Okay.
But it also ties into when he's losing his powers, which still kind of doesn't make much sense to me. Like, I know they try to say it, like, when you deny aspects of yourself, then, you know, things don't work properly.
Yeah, it's basically you gotta, like, believe in yourself, right?
Yeah. And he's
losing that belief in himself.
Yeah.
Because
that's just probably one of the more heavy-handed versions of it.
Inside, he starts to feel more like, I want to be Peter more than Spider-Man.
Yeah, I get that.
Powers cut off.
I get that. It just seems weird.
Which makes for some pretty funny moments when he's falling through
the
sky.
They're hilarious. They are actually really fun. Yeah. Like, the first time it happens,
and
he falls on the like on the roof, and you're just like, oof. Yeah. You're like, okay.
That was a rough landing.
That was a rough landing, you know. But the other one where he actually falls, like, straight almost into the garbage bag.
Oh, yeah.
Hits that, and then lands in the puddle, and he's just kind of sitting there, and you're just like, oh.
My back.
Oh. Yeah, that one when he's trying to get his powers kick-started again.
Bouncing
and he's just like, oh, my back. And then it's just like, oh, no, my back. And you're like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. So I guess it's, I don't know, like, even though to this day it still kind of bugs me. It's not. It's like one of those like it's not even like a minus per se. It's just one of those like, but everything else is just so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's still like I mean for me it's 5 Chris out of 5 because well, fuck the introduction of Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, I mean, like this right off the bat, Alfred Molina as Otto Octavius was the best casting probably out.
But even the way they presented him,
his whole like everything was perfect about that character.
You know, like I even like the part where Peter's writing a paper on Dr. Octavius's work, and Dr. Connors goes, Otto's a friend of mine. Or no, he goes, Octavius is a friend of mine. You better do your homework. And I thought that was a really nice touch because in New York, wouldn't these like scientific geniuses kind of all know each other to some degree?
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, like it's cool that Harry is working with them with the tritium, and he's like, I'll hook you up and meet him. Maybe your Spider-Man buddy will come, and then smack. I hate you for loving Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh.
The smack looked like it hurt.
Yeah. It was a good smack.
It was a really good smack.
But then Harry brings Peter there, and I was like, I don't have time for this. And, and then Harry's basically like, you're going to make the time if you want the funding.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But that ends up loving Peter. Oh. What's he say? So like, oh, Kurt told me about you.
He's like, oh, you're a Connors student. Brilliant but lazy.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, yeah, I guess it makes sense. Because I mentioned this before, like in the previous one, where it's just like, they show Peter always out of breath, always late, always rushing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it makes sense that this is a guy that would do that because I mean he's swinging all across New York for one thing, and he's Spider-Man. But eventually he's gonna be like, okay, like, I'm fucking tired, right? But that whole introduction when they meet, they hang out, and you meet his wife, right? Mm-hmm. Which that's new. They didn't really do that in the comic books. You know, sure, he shacked up with Aunt May for a bit, but that's a story for another day.
Oh, or not.
Yeah. They hooked up. But anyway, so that meeting is great because you get to see Peter Parker being confident in nerdy Peter Parker, not having to be like a nerd and hiding it type of thing. And like you said, they fall in love with him immediately. Mm-hmm. He's inspired by them and vice versa and stuff like that. So then when you get to see the arms, which bounce back and forth between brilliant CGI and really good prosthetics. Yeah. It is incredible to watch.
Yeah, I think for the most part, it's probably all like practical effects.
A lot of it is practical effects.
When he's on the buildings and stuff, it's obviously CG.
There's the initial scene where he does the big reveal. Yeah. Those are CGI.
Very cool looking.
Like when they're on the ground, they're real. But then when they're moving, they were CGI, and they're just picking it apart right away. But I also love how the goggles from the comic books make it there. Yeah. Because he's got to harness the power of the sun to create this renewable energy source. The bulb, like his haircut, is there because of the neurotransmitter. Yeah. So again, you're like, you fuckers thought of everything. The arms are there to actually be able to harness the power and create the renewable energy, you know? So it's like 3 things all explained instantly. Yeah. Sure, in the comic books it was explained because, you know, he was handling toxic chemicals and then they spilled and that's why he became Dr. Octopus. But this I really loved that because they were sentient arms and the neural inhibitor prevented them from taking over. Yeah. And he casually just like, no, that's why I have this, because it'll protect me from them, you know? And they're like, oh, okay. And then it all goes to shit. Yeah. Immediately, too. And I love this scene where, like, Spider-Man shows up, saves the day, and Harry is still just like, fuck you.
Doesn't change anything.
Fuck you! Yeah. I hate you! But yeah, I love that he's just like, doesn't change anything. And you're like, well, it should. Yeah. Like, it really should.
Maybe dead, but...
You know, but then that whole thing ruins Harry, so now we start to do that downward spiral for him. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to brush your leg like that.
Was that? I couldn't tell if that was you or Spider-Man.
It was
He's been brushing me for a long time.
It was definitely me. But like, but so that starts to begin his downward spiral. Yeah. And you see him like boozing it up and everything, and he's like Spider-Man ruined me. Where's your little buddy, right?
Yeah.
He smacks him really hard.
Oh.
And I feel for Peter at that point because you're right. Like, he doesn't say anything at all.
It's to like, I'm watching it and I'm like, if I was Spider-Man, I don't think I want to be Spider-Man in that case either. Like, my best friend is smacking me, the woman of my dreams I can't be with, and she hates me now. I'm shitting the bed at school. I can't hold a job.
He's got 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And he's, like, so far in debt for rent and just basic necessities.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even his friggin' moped gets destroyed. Although that scene was awesome. Like, when she's trying to make it to the plane.
I know.
And he does the
kind of
backflip.
Heartbreaking.
Does the backflip. And the kids are just like, whoa, how'd you do that? And he's just like,
eat green vegetables.
I just eat my green vegetables and I got plenty of rest.
This
That's what my mom always tells me. I just never believed her. And I'm like, yes, that's so great. You know, and they do that awesome scene with Bruce Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
And he just fucking lets him have it. But, like, the Spider-Man stuff, the Peter Parker stuff, this resonates so much. Like, even now, I'm just like now when I'm an adult and I've got, you know, bills and I've got work and I've got home life, and you're like, yeah, like, actually,
it's really hard to.
That's a juggle.
There's days when it's hard to juggle it.
You know, even that's a juggle, and I'm just like, yeah, like, I really feel for it. Then you add in the fact that this guy, like, saves people's lives on the regular. Like they have a police scanner for him.
Do you ever sleep?
Yeah,
you know? Like,
exactly.
Where do you fit in sleep?
Exactly. Like, you're just like, holy shit, like, it's just incredible. It's amazing. The things
spectacular
that this guy is doing, you know. And he does all of this, and finally he goes to May, hey, look, it's my fault. Ben's dead because of me. And she kicks him out of the house.
I know.
And he's just like, oh.
That was a crazy scene. Just like the look on her face.
It pulls her hand away from him.
And I was like, she just walks upstairs. Doesn't say a word. Walks upstairs.
And this is the same woman at the beginning of the movie is like forcing him to take money, even though
that was so heartbreaking.
And she's
you will
like,
take this.
You
money.
have to take this. And he's just like, okay, fine. Mm-hmm. You know. And then, well, of course, it leads to the hilarious bank scene.
Yeah.
I'm here for my toaster, and it's just like, well, you need a deposit of $300 or more. Oh. Kicks him? That's supposed to be Peter. But getting back to Dr. Octopus, so the introduction is great when everything goes to shit and his wife gets killed.
And the way they shot it, too, with the reflection of the glass.
Oh, my God! And then so he goes nuts.
You know what? The whole introduction, that, and then onwards, like, Sam Raimi went to his horror roots for that.
Oh, well...
I was watching it, I was just like, my God, this is amazing. This is like a horror movie right now.
I couldn't get over, like, when he's in the operating room.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out where to start with these arms and try to how to get it off. And even, like, getting, like, a handheld chainsaw. Mm-hmm. And then the arms are now awakening. The
way they're moving around the room, you know what it reminded me of? John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes,
when
very much.
The body is on the table and it's
like they look, the arms are in the thing.
Yeah.
Then they look away. They look back. One's down. And they're like, "What the fuck?" And then they start seeing the view from the arms themselves.
I know.
And then that woman is screaming,
and scratching.
They're all dead. Like they don't talk about deaths in any of the Spider-Man movies. Oh, okay.
Those people are murdered.
Yeah,
like
flat out,
brutally murdered too.
I mean, yeah, okay. They blatantly killed people in the first one. They hide it really well in the second one, but he fucking killed those people. Flat out kills them. And then like they get to that like outskirts where his new base of operations is, and he's just like, oh my God, like what am I? And then they start talking. He's like, you're right. You must rebuild.
And they realize it's the chip.
Yeah,
like,
but then he doesn't care because they're in him now, and they're just like, we must rebuild. We'll need more money. Then they go to the bank, and he's in a trench coat. And they never mention that he gets stronger in this movie.
That was my only problem throughout the whole movie, and it still is while watching, is that
even to this day,
falling from the sky and hitting the ground, like his regular body.
He's okay. So if you argue that Spider-Man is pulling his punches, I can accept that. Except he is full on punching Spider-Man and not breaking anything.
Yeah.
Okay? Spider-Man is stronger just Period. Just stronger.
Yeah.
So if a normal human punches him, like in the comic books, he's hitting people with his finger, flicking them to knock them out. That's how strong he is. So when you punch him, it's like Batman punching Spider-Man or Superman.
Yeah.
He can only do so much with kryptonite before he's breaking his hands, like in 608.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he says that. He's like, anymore, I'm breaking every bone in my hand. So it's the same thing. So the fact that they didn't mention that he got stronger does bug me. Still bugs me. It never not bug me because I'm always just like,
yeah.
You know, like, yeah, okay,
even
if
though
you're
I
pulling
still
your
consider
punches...
I consider it a perfect movie still. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
But that
movie.
is something that's always bugged me. And I mean, it would make sense why Peter would be pulling his punches because he knows Otto. He knows Otto. It's not just some random bank
Exactly.
robber,
Otto doesn't know who he is, but he knows.
Yeah.
Right? And you're right. Like, it makes sense. And it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I said it. It makes perfect sense.
It was more or less like Otto falling and hitting things.
That and part, but the punching is another one where I'm just like... Because you can't pull getting punched. Mm. You know? If you punch me in the face, it's going to hurt you.
Yeah. Yes.
It's gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
And there's no amount of me like trying to move with it. Like I could try to move with it and lessen the impact, but you're still gonna be fucked up for a week at least. So, so this is partly true. Anyway, I might be fucked up for a week at least, but anyway. But still those fucking fight scenes.
The fight scenes are so good.
Like. I even like the agreement. So Otto knows that he can get tritium. Mm-hmm. Tritium, not Turidium. Tritium from Osborn. So he goes to Osborn and says, hey, I need more. I need this much. And then Osborn goes, fine, give me Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know where to look. Peter Parker.
And don't hurt Peter.
Yeah. He's like, don't hurt Peter.
He's already long gone. You never heard that.
At least he saved my drink.
Yeah.
That's cool. But even those scenes, too, like when... there's the thud, and he's like, and people are like, what the fuck is that? What's that? And it's him walking up the walls. The scene at the bank is really, really cool. I really like the scene at the bank because you get that shot where he's about to gut Spider-Man, and Aunt May fucks him up from behind.
Yeah.
And then there's that awkward moment where he's like, we should have showed him. And she's like, what are you, like, we? And he's like, okay, and he fucks off. But then we get to still one of my favorite superhero fight scenes of all time. And the entire set piece is awesome. They took the template from the MJ subway car, right? And it's... yeah, because... Sorry, I'm getting ahead of here. So MJ is like, do you love me? Do you love me? This is the coffee scene. Yeah. And he's just like, no. But then... Spider-Sense kicks in, the giant car, we get that awesome scene where he's flipping with her.
Yeah. And
then Otto Octavius fucking grabs him, sends him flying, takes her, fucks off. Now Peter's like, that's it, I'm Spider-Man. And that's it. So then they have that awesome scene where he's swinging through New York, and the entire thing is through Otto's reflection in his goggles. I was like, this is crazy. Yeah. And they're at the clock tower, and they're having that whole big fight scene on the clock tower, which is literally interspersed between CGI and live action, and then they fall down onto the subway train, and then they continue the fight there.
Like, on top, inside,
around,
on the side, like everywhere.
You know, and then Otto's like throwing people, and Spider-Man saving them, getting back up to the train, and then Otto busts the brakes, and then fucks off. There's the big spark. Spider-Man's mask is off, and now Spider-Man is trying to stop the train, and then finally, like, flips a million times, finally stops the train, passes out from exhaustion.
That scene, though. It is so good. And all the people behind him just, like, watching. And
they're like, holy crap. And then, like, as he's about to fall, they catch him.
Yeah.
They carry him.
They bring him in over top.
They very gently pull him down. Like, I've referenced this, I think 3 or 4 times on our Camcast, I've talked about this scene. Yeah. And I love that the one dude, I cut you off big time, but I love that the dude is just like, he's just a kid. Yeah. He's no older than my kid.
Exactly.
And you're like, yeah, even though he looks like he's 40. Anyway, and the kids, Sam Raimi's kids, are like, we found this, you know, and you're like crying almost because these people are like,
we won't tell anyone.
We won't tell anyone. This is of course before cell phones and smartphones and everything. But I get the impression that even then they wouldn't have taken his picture. You know what I mean?
And then Doc Ock comes back in there.
Gets in, and they're all just standing in front.
They start going, and then Peter's just like...
He's like, no. But I mean, they're like, you got to get through all of us. And he goes, very well. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then, he knocks him out, takes him to where Mary Jane is. And then...
no, he takes him to Harry.
Oh, he takes him to Harry. That's right. That's right.
Harry first.
And then
that's where Harry finds
just
out he's
like,
Peter.
We have to... That's right. He goes, this
is bigger than the two of us.
That's right. Bigger than the two of us. I need to know where she is. And then he's just like, it's over there or something like that. And I'm just like, that's crazy. And it's awesome, too, because now you've got Harry who's torn because his best friend is his most hated enemy. Mm-hmm. What's he going to do?
Yeah.
And they tease that so awesomely at the end of this movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And then one of my favorite things, again, another one of my favorite things in this movie, yes, he's fighting Dr. Octopus in that last sequence, but all he's really trying to do is appeal to the inner Dr. Otto.
Yeah.
He tried to do that with Norman Osborn, but Norman Osborn was inherently a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Otto is a good guy. Like, there's this, he's choking him, and he's just like, come on, you're better than this. You wanted to save the world, after he's got no mask on, and he's just like, wait a minute. Parker. Brilliant but lazy.
Yeah.
You're like, now's not the time, asshole. We gotta fix this shit.
Yeah.
And then you get MJ seeing him and going like...
And the way that it was shot, because you see Otto get up and he's going to take down that, what's called, the reactor? Or like the power of the sun, I don't know what they call it. He's going to drop in the river, though.
Yeah.
Because it's out of control.
That's right.
Getting fucked up.
Fusion reactors?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. So you see him, like, going to that, and then it pans back, and then Peter's kind of like this, watching him. So you see Ock going this way, you see Peter, and then he turns his head, and MJ's looking at him.
Yeah.
And she's just, the look on her face, oh, man, I love this movie so much.
And then, that big, huge fucking wall comes down, he saves her, and she's just like, so you're Spider-Man. Yeah.
He's like holding him, he's like, hey.
It's just like, this is really kind of heavy.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I know I was saying, I was kind of poo-pooing it in the first one, where it was just like, ooh. It was a little jokey thing. This was just good enough to break that tension. And then Ock saves New York, saves the day, dies like a
you see that
shot
of him just like falling to the bottom of the river.
Hauntingly tragic ending. Of course, they swim off, there's the big web, and then that's where she goes, I guess I kind of always know. And he's like, well, now you know why
we can't be
together, because someone's always going to be out there to try and hurt me.
Yeah. And
they're going to go through you, and I'm like, oh, man.
And he lowers her down, and she's just staring up at him. John Jameson is who she's marrying.
Yeah. She leaves him at the altar, though, Kenneth?
Dirty move.
That's a dirty move.
Dirty move, Mary Jane.
I know you're like, oh, it's really romantic and it's sweet, and I mean, like, oh, of course she's going to wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
She didn't have to wait till the last minute to leave the altar.
Yeah.
She could have said, hey, John, I know you're really happy to see me, and I'm really happy to see you, but we can't be together because I don't love you as much as I love Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Or anything.
Something.
She didn't have to literally be, like, down the aisle going, you know what? I'm actually going to go and see what Peter's up to.
And J. Jonah Jameson's first thought is, cancel the caviar.
Yeah. Everything he was in that movie, everything he said, I was like, this is golden. Mm-hmm. This is golden. Cinema ham.
Yeah.
Like,
so great.
But the ending is great where she says, face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot. And then he goes off and he's Spider-Man.
He's swinging.
And he's happy.
And you think it's going to end with him swinging again and everything, but then they cut back to her and just that look of worry on her face.
That's right. That's right, because, I mean...
Already she's worried.
Well, and then what do you get? You get the scene where Harry finds out that his dad was the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
And then they go, what's going to happen? And I remember we talked about this, and I thought maybe, just maybe, he's not going to be the Green Goblin, or the Hobgoblin, or whatever the fuck they were going to go with.
Yeah.
Because maybe they're going to subvert expectations.
Yeah.
Anything else in Spider-Man 2? What do we get here?
Entire train sequence, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, I love the inclusion of the Spider-Man No More arc and the classic imagery of the mask of the garbage
can. That was awesome.
Again, he's showcasing a very important moment from the comic books.
That was awesome, I have to admit, even though, like, the whole sequence with him not being Spider-Man was kind of cringy to watch. Because at first he's nailing his grades, he's doing everything great.
Yeah.
Then when he sees the one kid getting the shit
that,
kicked out of him.
And then he's just like, oh.
And I remember
and he walks away. And it'd be like...
Yeah, like he literally just goes, but then he goes, I'm eating my hot dog. And I remember just being like, I feel like he'd kind of still try to step in.
Yeah.
You know, because I've said before, like, I view Peter Parker... I mean, it's hard to say, right? But I do I wish he would have at least made a step towards him, and then said, well, no, I can't.
Yeah.
Right? But,
So, yeah, no, I think I'm done on Spider-Man 2.
Are you sure we don't have anything else? Because, like,
I
feel like there's more to talk about.
Oh, you just don't...